full stop and the comma are the two most frequently used punctuation marks. The comma is not as final as a full stop. It is used to indicate a brief pause. The comma functions to separate a number of basic elements and set off many different kinds of added elements within a sentence. As we go through the usage of comma, we will at the same time reinforce your understanding of sentence structures. Let's begin. Use commas to separate items in a series. Words, phrases, and clauses in a series are usually separated by commas to show the reader where one item in a series ends and the next begins. The comma is used to separate words, phrases, and clauses in a series. Example: always stop, look, and listen before crossing the road. Verb words in a series: clearing the table, washing the dishes, and putting everything away took almost an hour. Gerund phrase: we didn't know where we were going, how we would get there, or when we would arrive. Subordinate clause. Note: independent clauses in a series can be separated by commas only if the clauses are short. Independent clauses that are long or that contains commas are usually separated by semicolons. In your reading, you will find that some writers omit the comma before a conjunction such as and, or nor, when it joins the last two items in a series. However, such a comma is sometimes necessary to make the meaning of a sentence clear. Notice how the comma affects the meaning of the following examples. Marcus, Shem and I are going riding. Is Marcus being addressed? Or is he going riding? Marcus, Shem, and I are going riding. 3 people are going riding. If all items in a series are joined by and, or nor, do not use comma to separate them. Example: I voted for Mona and Suan and Fidel in the student council election. Use commas to separate 2 or more adjectives preceding a noun. Example: Jack Russell Terriers are small, energetic dogs. These intelligent, loyal, playful pets always enjoy a challenge. When the final adjective in a series is thought of as a part of the noun, do not use a comma before the adjective. Example: a skillful, energetic dog trainer can teach a Jack Russell to perform many exciting tricks. No comma is used between enthusiastic and the dog because the words dog and trainer make up a compound noun. A comma should never be used between an adjective and the noun immediately following it. Example: the cute, clever terrier who starred in TV's Wishbone was really named Sucker. The cute, clever terrier who starred in TV's Wishbone was really named Sucker. Use a comma before coordinating conjunction when it joins independent clauses in a compound sentence. Example: the musical comedy began as an American musical form, yet its popularity has spread throughout the world. When the independent clauses are very short, the comma before and, but, or nor is sometimes omitted. Example: I am tired, but I can't sleep. A comma is almost always used before not, for, so, or yet when it joins independent clauses. Example: everyone seemed excited, for it was time to begin. Note: do not confuse a compound sentence with a simple sentence that has a compound verb. A simple sentence has only one independent clause. Devon likes cricket but doesn't enjoy badminton. Simple sentence with a compound verb. No comma. Devon likes cricket, but he doesn't enjoy badminton. 2 independent clauses, comma needed. Note: when the independent clauses in a compound sentence contain commas, a semicolon may be needed before the coordinating conjunction. Example: our class will read Chapter 4, Chapter 7, and Chapter 9. And Larry, Dana, and Louis will present reports on them. Use commas to set off an expression that interrupts a sentence. 2 commas are used to set off an interrupting expression. One before and one after the expression. Example: Mr. Williams, born and raised in Essequibo, moved to Georgetown at the age of 22. The applications, by the way, were sent 3 days ago. Some interrupting expressions can also come at the beginning or at the end of a sentence. In such cases, only 1 comma is needed. Example: born and raised in Essequibo, Mr. Williams moved to Georgetown at the age of 22. The applications were sent 3 days ago, by the way. Use commas to set off non-essential participle phrases and non-essential subordinate clauses. A non-essential or non-restrictive phrase or clause adds information that is not needed to understand the basic meaning of a sentence. Non-essential phrase: the small turtle, crossing the street slowly, was in danger. The main idea in this sentence remains: the small turtle was in danger. Non-essential clause. Shivnarine Chandrapal, who retired from West Indies international cricket, holds several regional records. The main idea of the sentence is Shivnarine Chandrapal holds several regional records. Do not use commas to set off essential or restrictive phrase or clause, since such a phrase or clause tells which one. It cannot be omitted without changing the meaning of the sentence. Essential phrase. The theories developed by Einstein have changed the way people think about the universe. Without the essential phrase, the sentence says, the theories have changed the way people think about the universe. Essential clauses. The map that we were using did not show your street. Without the essential clause, the sentence says, the map did not show your street. Use commas to set off non-essential appositives and non-essential appositive phrases. A non-essential appositive or appositive phrase provides information that is unnecessary to the meaning of the sentence. Example: my best friend Dequan is studying art. The Demwara River, one of the major rivers in Guyana, extends well beyond Linden to Malali. An essential appositive adds information that makes the noun or pronoun it identifies more specific. Do not set off essential appositives. Example: the gospel singer Samuel Medas wrote the soca song Stadium. The appositive Samuel Medas tells which soca singer. The appositive Stadium tells which song. Use commas to set off words of direct address. Example: Miss Rogers, this package is addressed to you. I'd like to go now, Jeff. Use commas to set off parenthetical expressions. A parenthetical expression is a remark that adds information or shows a relationship between ideas. Example: the president said, of course, that he was deeply disappointed. In my opinion, the movie was too violent. Parenthetical expressions are not always used as interrupters. They are sometimes critical to the meaning of the sentence. Use comma only when the expressions are parenthetical. Example: Sydney, I think, volunteers at the senior center. Parenthetical. I think Sydney volunteers at the senior center. Not parenthetical. Introductory words, phrases, and clauses. Use a comma after certain introductory elements. Use a comma to set off mild exclamations such as, well, oh, why, at the beginning of a sentence. Other introductory words such as yes and no are also set off with commas. Example: well, I think we should ask for help. And lastly, use a comma after an introductory phrase or clause. Prepositional phrases. A comma is used after an introductory phrase if the phrase is long or if two or more phrases appear together. At night, in Linden, the temperature falls rapidly. If the introductory prepositional phrase is short, a comma may or may not be used. Example: in the morning, we'll tour the burial ground. In the morning, we'll tour the burial ground. Verb phrase. A comma is used after a participle phrase or an infinitive phrase that introduces a sentence. Signaling to the referee for a timeout, the coach gathered her players for a pep talk. Participle phrase. To keep your bones strong, be sure to get regular exercise and eat food rich in calcium. Infinitive phrase. Note, sometimes an infinitive phrase at the beginning of a sentence is the subject of the sentence. In such a case, the infinitive should not be followed by a comma. For example, to become a museum curator is Shondel's dream. Adverb clauses. An adverb clause may be placed at various places in a sentence. When it begins a sentence, the adverb clause is followed by a comma. Example: when March came, the weather changed and became perfect for cricket. Because I had a sore throat, I could not audition for the jingle competition. Until we meet again. And if the means allow, rewatch, like,